So today's video is a bit of an eclectic mix. We've got a few things going on for you. I'm going to show you a trout pool. I'm going to show you a trout pool that we've been working on. We've been putting a casting platform in. We dug the lake out a few years ago, so there's a bit of footage of that. A little introduction to our Morooka track dumper. I'm going to take you through a new project we've got coming up where we're putting a new shed up on the yard, so there's a little bit of fabrication work we're doing on some steels. And then we're out with a small flail mower doing some woodland paths. And then I'll do a bit of a review of one of our Kuhn flail mowers out on a large job, and you can see a bit of a breakdown and then some footage there of a few problems that we get involved with flail mowing at this time of year. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching so far. Thanks for watching our previous videos. If you've been already a subscriber or a regular viewer, please, if you're new to the channel or haven't yet subscribed, please click the little subscribe button. It costs nothing. It helps grow our little channel and increases the reach to hopefully more people that will also find it interesting. Any comments you've got, as always, we'd love to hear, and we do try and reply to all of them. So yeah, please comment any ideas or anything you like or would like to see in future videos. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this one. On a site that we started about 5 years ago, dug out a trout pool for one of our clients. It's all fully naturalised now, so we're putting casting platforms in out of oak, steel frames and oak. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of this. I'll try and find some footage of when we dug the thing out, dug the pool out with the 18-ton Volvo and a Morooka track dumper. Low-lying, wet, marshy area with sort of well-sedimented pools. We dug it out. It's probably a couple of acres. And the water's crystal clear. Don't know whether you'll see him with the camera. You see that? It's absolutely beautiful. It's fed from the ground. Got no drains coming into it, so the water quality is absolutely superb. So we've just cut a load of joists and notching them out so that they fit into the steelwork, like so. 7x3s. Noggins in between. So we'll get all this joisted out and then we'll start attaching the oak boards, and you can see the project coming together. Yours just gone back to the yard now to pick up the oak boarding that we've milled. So I'm just going to carry on as you've been watching putting these joists in and noggins. I thought I'd just take a minute to explain a little bit what I'm doing. Like all our videos, I'm trying not to teach. I don't want to think like I'm teaching people to suck eggs. Loads of you will know what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it. But those of you that are doing a project for the first time, just a little bit more information about how we do things might help you guys. So I'll just show you a few of the aspects. So obviously we put the steel frame in. This was done in the winter. It was too wet to get across the ground and the field with the materials, so we've just left it till it's dried up. So the steel frame's gone in. We're using 7x3 joists, and then what you'll notice we're doing is just notching out, if you can see in the light, we just take a little bit off the corner because there's the steel webbing. It comes out here, so it can't go right into the very corner. Arguably there's a little bit more there than required, taken off, but that allows it to be free. We're just notching out 1 centimetre by 5 centimetres to take into consideration this flange of the steel, so it can sit in there. And that's really worked in nicely because the timber's just slightly proud of the RSJ, so the boards can carry over that nicely. So they're only short runs across, obviously because of the strength in the steel frame, But we put in the joists at 16-inch centres, so 16-inch from here to here, just leaving a 13-inch long noggin. And we put those noggins in on these short runs, doing one at each end, and I'm staggering them so I can get my screw through from either side. Those noggins are just there to stop the timber twisting in that plane, so it holds the whole structure nice and firm. Now, arguably, my fixings are probably bigger than required. I'm using these hex-headed, oh, they're not hex-headed, they're Torx-headed screws. These are 200mm long, so they're probably overkill, to be fair. But I'm just going straight through into the end grain. We're just going straight through there into the end grain by offsetting the two joists, the two noggins rather. It means I can get back into that one. That holds it all nice and firm. The other way of doing it is to sprag screw it, and you'll see I'm doing that on the ends where I can't get to the side of the joist. And you can go through the diagonal, so putting the screw through like that. Quite often on interior framework and on a building site or something like that, you'd be sprag nailing them with a nail gun, or putting a screw in there, sort of sprag style. But on these outdoor projects, I'd like to use good, heavy, well-treated fixings that are going to last a long time. I've got faith in these fixings that they're not going to rust and they're going to see the life of the deck out. So that's why I'm using these, and perhaps a bit overkill, but there's nothing wrong with over-engineering. I've got the tricky bit to do out over the water. The water's not very deep. We're just putting those in, working across, and then we get the boards on. So if it all goes to plan, I don't get wet today. If it doesn't go to plan, then we'll have some funny outtake clips for Christmas time, I guess. So I'll keep going with this now. You'll be back soon. We'll have a bite to eat and then try and get some of this outboarding on. I'll start putting the oak boards on now, so I'm going to show you that quickly. So it's starting to look pretty smart. So this is 6x2, so it's really strong oak. You see that we're leaving the ends, obviously they're just like as the end of the trees were when we milled them. So we're leaving those just jagged for the time being at both ends. Then we'll string line that up and trim those off later. What I'm doing, I'm using 90mm hex-headed, seriously coated screws. These are Carpenter's Mate Pro Hex head screws. Quite a dear fixing, but really strong, and the coatings seem to stand up against the tannins in the oak. Normally in the green oak we're using stainless steel fixings, but on this heavy, real heavy stuff, we find that the stainless stuff can be quite brittle, and if you're not careful, the fixings snap out unless you go really, really heavy with them. So we found these as quite a good alternative. So the coatings seem to last a long time against the tannins. So as we're putting them on, what I'm doing is just made a little spacer peg, as you can see here, one for each end, and we're just offering that in between at either end, countersinking it, banging one of those screws in, doing that at both ends, and then where there's a bow in the middle of the timber, we're just getting a crowbar and just leaning them away to get the spacer in, to get the fixing in. Just putting a fixing, one at either end, one in the middle, just to hold them square and right as we go, and then I'll just pencil out and get all my screw holes matching up nicely and just drill all the rest of the joists and bang all the rest of the fixings in one big fell swoop. So Yours just headed off to pick a bit more oak up because we haven't got a trailer handy, and the little grafter won't carry too much weight at once, so he's just got to pick up the rest of the oak now, bring that over, and we'll just keep boarding this out. And it's just so nice that, again, sun's shining again. Like, this has been like the third week now of no rain and just great conditions at this time of year to be able to get on. I mean, these sort of jobs when all your tools are out, so miserable when it's raining, but yeah, it's going well. So, got the deck finished this morning. I'll show you this quickly. Looking pretty smart. So we've got all the oak boards on, a little bit of oak trim on this side to cover up the steelwork. It's a really strong job. Make a great casting platform out across the lake. So we've got a little bit of finishing off to do over the next few weeks. Just this area around here. We'll just topsoil this up, a little bit of gravel in pathway back up to that path. We'll clear all this debris away. Be dead tidy for the summer. So any of you guys out there looking to have a trout lake built from scratch or constructed and associated works, give us a shout. Maybe if Michael at GCS can get his to hold water, then maybe you'll have one of these decks down at your place. So we've got the shed we're putting together now. It was a second-hand frame you've seen before. Painting's going well. So I showed you this the other day. We've given this 2 coats now, and yeah, I think that's looking pretty smart. So that's all the rafters, all painted up, ready to go. So the next thing I want to do is, the stanchions haven't got any little foots on for the concrete panels. We're going to be putting 6-inch concrete panels around this building. You see on this shed here how we've got these like little feet welded on that the panels rest on. Makes it really easy when you put the shed up to sit the panels on, because obviously they'll all be set at the same level. So you rest the panels on there, there's no chocking around or messing about. So what I'm doing now, I've just got some old RSJ and got that on the chop saw, on the metal band cutting saw. I'm just cutting out these little feet triangles. Just show you this now quickly. So the idea of these, dead simply, before I paint these stanchions up, like we've done with the rafters, so I've got these rafters, these stanchions here, we can just weld them on the bottom. You can see like that. And then so just weld them on the bottom like that. And obviously when they're up vertically, the concrete panels will sit down to there. What we'll do is we'll make sure that the distance from here to here is the same on all the pieces I cut, and then we'll make sure that we weld, when we weld that on the top, when we weld that plate on with that little triangulation support that's formed out the RSJ, that distance from the bottom of the stanchion to the top of that plate is all the same. Then obviously if the stanchions are all put at the same height on the concrete pads, the panels will all sit square and happy days. So just got a couple more of these to cut now, and then next time I'm in the workshop we can get them all welded up. Right, we're going to get the stanchions ready now for this new shed. So these brackets we've cut, we're going to weld on the bottom. So that means that when we put the concrete panels up, we've got somewhere to foot the panels onto. So these need to be the same height from the top of this surface to the bottom of the stanchion, so that when all these are put to the same level on the concrete pads, all the concrete panels will run in nice and neatly. We've got this bit to contend with here. It's obviously a second-hand shed. This is the only stanchion which has got a rip in it. So I'm going to cut a piece of that off, heat the rest, bend that flat. If necessary, weld a little bit of extra steel on there. We'll sort that out. So I'm just going to prep up this steel now, give it a grind, get back to nice and bare metal, and then we'll get these all welded on. We're using our Jasic welder, 3-phase welder. It's a 350 amp MIG. We've had that for 4 or 5 years, really pleased with it. So I'll get cracking. So you can see there, I've just ground back the paint, put a pen line on with the set square to bring that plate, so we know that that's perfectly square to the steel, and therefore will be perfectly horizontal when we've got the shed up. Just prep back the steel slightly around, clean that up on this bracket that we cut out of the RSJ. So that's all good to go now. So pretty happy with that. that's a nice weld there, fully seam round. So that's not going to go anywhere. It's good penetration on that steel. I've just seen there, I've just taken that corner off with a gas. It's a bit thin here, but we get a big plate washer over that. It's going to have a load of concrete coming up, about 8 inches over the top of that as well. So I don't think that's going to shift anywhere when it's all installed. I'm not going to lose any sleep about it. So yeah, we've just got basically now another 9 of those to do, get those prepped. Might be a few little bits of tinkering around on some of the other stanchions where it's making good, but on the whole I think that was the worst one. So just fly through the rest of them now, get these plates all on, and then it's ready for painting. So that's those are the 2 welded up. Yeah, definitely to those. You don't need to watch me weld all of them. Just thought I'd say now, like, the reason we're working with this, you've probably noticed a lot of our other sheds are all galvanised, and why we're doing this painted one. I was planning on making my own kit for this next shed, and we've done that out of new steel and then had it galvanised, but this one came along, chap decided not to put it up. So we purchased this as a second-hand shed that he'd purchased it as a second-hand shed that had been sandblasted and primed. Decided he wasn't going to put it up, so we bought it off him. And what we're doing now is only half of what we bought. So the shed kit we bought was big enough to do a 40 by 140 foot. And we paid £9,000 for it, which I didn't think was bad. So we're going to put this up as 2 halves, a 60 by 40 and a 50 by 40, the way it's going to work in my space. So for all the main steel work, rafters and stanchions for £9,000, I don't think I'd have bought the steel for that. And then there's obviously a load of work in fabricating and drilling. So I was pretty happy with that. So yeah, the shed's not going to be galved. If the steel had come really rough, then we'd have sandblasted it and then had it galved. But on the basis the steel's already been shot blasted and then primed, I just thought it was just a massive extra cost and a load of time to do that. So we're just going to go with it as a painted shed, which is fine. It's big, thick steels. They're going to last. They're going to see us out. So that's where we're at with it. But I thought, yeah, £9,000 for a 140 by 40 frame. Obviously, we need all the purlin sheets, panels, everything else. But I thought as a frame, that was pretty good value. There's not a massive amount of work in it for me to get it how we want it and get it painted. So yeah, it's pretty good. So I'll crack on with the rest of them now. Come to a plantation that we put in the ground 3 years ago. It's a mixed species of hardwoods, oak, birch, cherry, wide variety of species. We've been spraying around this last few years. You can see how the grass is shorter around the trees. The trees are now well above the grasses, so we haven't got to worry about spraying around anymore. But we left a path when we planted it all the way around this field. So we're just going to mow round a little path around the perimeter so it makes like a nice area to walk the dogs. It's on our little new Holland 45D. The little major flail topper. It's a really little handy size. We'll get unloaded and we'll whiz around the field. That's tidied that up nicely now. So you can just see now we've the flail mower made a lovely job. So it's much nicer now for walking the dogs around through the new woodland. I had an early start this morning. We're out on the road to get down flail mowing. So I've got the Kuhn BPR 280, so 2.8 metres wide. She's got hydraulic offset, so she'll offset both sides depending on how you're working, which is really handy. Nice big wide flails. And they're really strong. And this Kuhn's got quite a big rear roller as well. It's quite a heavy duty rear roller. Like this is a good little design. Not all flails are made equal. This little scraper here, it's like a mower knife blade almost. Just sits on both sides. You've got a bearing here. All the stuff gets ravelled round if you're not careful. But this little scraper idea is fantastic. It just keeps it really clean. Big problem with flail mowing on the front. It's great for manoeuvrability and you're not treading the stuff down before you get to it. Big problem is the grill. Radiators, you can soon get the tractor really hot, having to clean this grill off all the time, and then every now and again take the screens out of the radiator. Bit of a frustration. I've said for a long time, I think if a manufacturer's putting a PTO on the front of a tractor, they should have a reversing fan as a standard. I'm really pleased to say that new 215 we've got has come with a reversing fan. But I'm not on that today because this is a slightly handier sized tractor for what we're doing. Have just noticed it's really annoying. Steps got bent. Absolutely no idea how that has got bent, but that has happened this morning. That's really, really, really frustrating. It's cutting the material up really, really fine. The great thing with this is great dry weather for this job. If you cut it nice and dry, it chops the material nicely, and then this will just fry off now and break down quicker. In the wet, it just leaves a bit of a mat over a real messy mat over the top of it. This is why it's so annoying that we haven't got a reversing fan on this tractor. Obviously, there's not that much on the front screen, but these back screens now, I mean, look at that. That is awful. What really annoys me though is you can't do what I'm doing now. You can't empty these screens off while the engine's running, because if I pull that out with the engine running, it's just going to suck all that rubbish into the radiator. Defeats having the screen. So you've got no option. The tractor's at its hottest, and you've got no option but to turn it off, which is really frustrating. As I say, on that new tractor, it's come with a reverse fan. So the fan, at any speed, you can just, any engine speed, you can just press a button, and rather than it sucking air through that way, it'll just blow air back, and it chucks loads of the rubbish off the screen. It blows that radiator out just to make it an awful lot more, an awful lot cleaner, improve the airflow. That does bug me that we have to turn the engine off when the tractor's hot. It's amazing, especially this weather when you're flailing, how much stuff, debris you get all over the tractor. Anyway, so have a quick look now at the tractor. Just start her up straight away quickly, just to, so you can see there, temperature's flashing, really hot. We'll give her a few revs now. Not too many. Just start drawing a bit. Just start drawing a bit of air through the engine. There you go. Straight away, as soon as we clean those screens, temperature's dropping. It's kind of a nice thing actually. John Deere have changed the cab layout, or the dash layout. Before, all that information used to be here behind the steering wheel. When you're sat in a driving position looking down, you couldn't see half of the things that were going on the dash. Sticking it on the pillar here now, this is right in your eyesight. You haven't got to wait for the computer to suddenly go, ah, it's really hot, and give you a warning message. You can, it's dead easy in your eye line just to see that temperature creeping up. So it's all obscured by the steering wheel, so I think it's a much better idea having it on that pillar. The information's really easy to see, and it gives a really nice little place for your phone holder, which is good. We've got hands free in the tractor, so you haven't got to touch the phone, you can just press a little button here and you can ring whoever you want, do whatever you want, answer your phone and stuff. So yeah, shoving the phone there, putting that pillar, top job.